Joining us. We're nearly call rate and we'll get underway in just about 2 minutes. So I'll start with housekeeping announcements in a moment. We are going to get underway with some housekeeping announcements. So before we start with the AGM, and we particularly want to welcome our online participants and everyone who's using their proxy voting rights. We've already received, I think, close to 20 proxy votes. So if you are joining us online, a very warm welcome. And in a moment, I'm going to hand over to our chair, Helen O'Sullivan, to start this year's AGM. This is the first time in quite a while that we are able to vote in a room in person. So we are going to rather archaically appoint a teller in order to help us count votes independently. Is there anybody in the room who would like to volunteer? Thank you, James. James Clay will be our teller for today's AGM. Now, in order to be more eco-friendly, we've been emailing everybody the reports, and you will also be able to download all the reports on the ALT website. So if you haven't already done so, please head to our AGM page now and have a look at the reports. All the papers, the AGM agenda, the annual accounts, and the impact report are all available via this webpage. Now, if you're voting today, you're most welcome. And if you're voting for in capacity of 2 memberships in your own right and for an organisation, please raise both hands. Or if you're unable to raise both hands, please let us know that we count your vote twice or that you want to vote twice. Please let James know that in particular. So you can vote for both as an organisation and as an individual. And then last but not least, if you are voting online and if you're joining us online, we will register your participation via the voting form, which will ask you for your details. So please complete the voting form. This is open now and you can start engaging with the proxy voting form. Postal voting closed yesterday at 5 p.m, so please only use the online form. Okay, Helen, I think that's the housekeeping, so I'll hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Maren. So, welcome everybody to the AGM. Thank you for coming. I'm Helen O'Sullivan. I am the chair of the Board of Trustees, and it's my great pleasure to chair this AGM in person. Maren said this morning when we did the first panel session that I took over as chair of the Board of Trustees in June 2020. And this is my first opportunity to be at the AGM in person, so I'm really thrilled about that. I'd like to just start by, on behalf of the members, thanking ALT, the colleagues that work for ALT, and also my fellow trustees, because those 2 years, as you can imagine, have been quite sizable in the terms of challenge and difficulties that have been faced. And ALT is a fantastic organisation, as you know, run for its members, but the executive in the likes of Maren and the new Chief Operating Officer, Kerry, over there, they do fantastic work, as do all the colleagues at ALT. The Board of Trustees will give their time and their energy and their expertise voluntarily, and they're a great bunch, and I've really enjoyed working with you all. Thank you very much. So, without further ado, we will go on to the first item, which is the approval of the minutes of the last annual general meeting and matters arising. So the last annual general meeting was 2021, 15th of June. And I'm going to ask for a proposer and a seconder to approve the minutes as an accurate record of the meeting. So do I have a proposer? Okay, thank you. And a seconder. Thank you very much there. So...
Thank you, Lynn. Sorry.
There were no matters arising from that, and I don't think we need a formal vote, do we? So those minutes of the last meeting are approved. Thank you very much. Item 3 is the annual report and accounts, and Shona Douglas, who's the Honorary Treasurer of ALT, will report the meeting and take questions. We will then vote on the proposal, on the resolution, that we accept the report and the accounts. So, over to you, Shona.
Thank you, Helen. So I joined ALT just a year ago, but have been here for a full year, so been able to review the financial position on a regular basis throughout the year, as well as the financial statements that are presented here today. A couple of highlights from those financial statements. I think, though, first of all, to confirm they were prepared and examined on a timely basis. In keeping with last year, the board agreed on an independent examination, and that process didn't identify any errors. Key highlight, I think, from those financial statements was a really pleasing performance and a real improvement from last year's position. I think last year, at the height of, hopefully, COVID, we saw a £91,000 deficit overall. This year, we have moved to a £11,000 surplus, so a really good, positive improvement there. And I think, all credit to Maren and her rest of her team for achieving that in what was still really difficult operating circumstances. Going forward, I think we'll need sort of careful financial management to build on these initial steps to full recovery. But, I'm confident those steps are being taken and they are being managed effectively. So, on that final note, just a thank you to all the ALT team for what they have done to achieve what they're doing last year and going forward as well. If anyone's got any questions on the financial statements, then I am more than happy to answer them.
So, do we have any questions? Okay. And would any come in online? No, that's fine. Okay. So, in which case, I would like to ask for a proposer and a seconder for the resolution. And the resolution is, it is hereby resolved that the 2021-2022 annual report and accounts be approved. Proposer? Thank you very much. Seconder? Thank you very much. So we got this. Yep. So we do now need to take a vote. So can members please vote for the resolution? Raise your hands if you would like to vote for the resolution.
So 2 hands means you have 2 votes, 1 hand, 1 vote.
Okay. Any votes against? Any abstentions? Thank you. And we've got the online votes. So you're going to add those in?
We'll come to them when we've done the second resolution.
Okay.
And we'll count all the proxy votes then.
That's great. Thank you. So, item 4, appointment of an auditor for the 2022-23 accounts. What we'd like you to do is vote to reappoint David Cadwallader and Co. accountants with their details there. And so we will, I think you're supposed to ask for a proposer and a seconder.
That's okay. So, the resolution is to hereby resolve that David Cadwallader and Co. Limited Accountants of Chesterton be reappointed as auditors for the 2022-23 accounts. So to ask for a proposer And a seconder. Perfect, thank you. And then for the members to vote on that resolution.
So those who vote in favour of that resolution. Thank you very much. Any against that proposal? And any abstentions? Okay, thank you.
Carrie, if you could now let us know what the votes were that came in online via the proxy voting form, and if you could just tell us the number, we'll read that out loudly. So for the first vote on the approval of the accounts, were there any abstentions? We're just waiting for the proxy votes to be updated before we move on.
So we have 6.7% for one abstention.
Yeah.
And then we have 14 votes for the resolution, no votes against.
So the total vote, Helen, to approve the accounts online and in person was 48 votes for, none against, one abstention. So we'll note that for the minutes.
Resolution, thank you.
And then carry the second resolution.
15 votes for, no abstentions, no votes against.
Excellent. So that is no votes against, in total one abstention, and that is then 451 votes.
Okay, so again, that resolution is carried. So thank you very much to the AGM for carrying those two resolutions. Thank you. So, item 5, Maren, Chief Executive of ALT, will present the impact report to members.
Thank you, Helen, and hello, everybody. I am really delighted to share with you our Impact Report 2022 that is launching today. And I hope very much that from this AGM, you will hear a lot more about the impact our community and our members have had over the past year, and particularly how we, as an association, help and support our members in their endeavours. I just want to spend a few minutes sharing a few of these highlights with you. And I also want you to spot those things that you've been involved in that we have been supporting and championing over the past year. The Impact Report charts the progress on a whole different number of levels, including the growth of our membership, our special interest groups, our certified membership, and all other areas of our operations. ALT membership is growing, and while we are certainly through challenging times, we feel that we're making really good progress in stabilising our operations. The Board of Trustees has been working very hard in a complete governance review of our association, including all aspects of the work that we do. We've reviewed every governance policy, and in a process that lasted over 12 months, we've reviewed and reflected on how we reflect and how our practice reflects best practice set out by the Charity Commission, but also by organisations that are operating similar to ALT. And we've had a whole host of measures that have come out of this governance review. Overall, we were delighted and I think felt reaffirmed in our approach to governing the organisation and supporting our members that much of what we do does already conform to best practice. However, there were quite a few areas as well that we identify in which we want to do even better. So we have continued to introduce a number of measures already this year, including a self-assessment exercise on board effectiveness that is now being carried out annually, and that is being carried out by the board this year. Overall, it has been a really positive exercise, and I don't know, Helen, if you wanted to mention anything on that exercise in particular, but I'll hand over to you in a minute if you do. We've also implemented a new plan for equality, diversion and inclusion in ALT. This is one area that we feel very strongly about, and we've had very helpful input from our community. And this is one area where our practice really should be above and beyond what we're seeing in the sector already. So we are working very hard in implementing, to begin with, also some baseline monitoring of how our Board of Trustees and our Members' Assembly reflect the diversity of our membership. This will be a huge strategic priority for us going forward, but it is also something we've already been working on for quite a long time. So certainly one area for me that I'm very focused on, that we're making progress on. There are a host of other areas in which we're making progress, and you can find a lot more information about this on the website. So I hope that you'll be delving in and finding out more what sort of behind the scenes has been happening to improve the way we operate. Helen, did you want to mention something about the board effectiveness exercise?
I think I found it really, really helpful. As I mentioned in my introduction, the Board of Trustees is a fantastic group of people. We come from a different range of backgrounds and expertise and experiences, and there are often lively discussions, and on the whole we reach consensus very quickly and we are able to move things forward. What I found about the review process, the governance review process, was that it gave me confidence that coherence and that consensus is born out of critical reflection and evaluation and an ability for people to speak up if they feel they need to, rather than, you could have a situation where that consensus could come out of people not feeling able to speak up or not really feeling motivated to speak up or challenge situations. So I felt that really reinforced my view that it is an effective board because there's evidence that people challenge and feel able to do that, and that makes the sort of lively discussions and the challenge and the consensus that we reach even more, I think, satisfying and very reassuring. So I thought it was a great exercise, and if any of you are on boards in other parts of your professional, personal life, the resources are all freely available, aren't they, on the Charity Commission website. We adapted them slightly, and it really was a fantastic exercise.
If you're as enthusiastic about charity governance policy as I am, I'm sure you will delve in and have a look. One of our strategic aims is obviously broadening the access to the expertise within our membership. And as we heard in the opening plenary this morning, and as I've seen in many sessions across the conference, one of our challenges that is growing is that we have a much wider audience of educators, parents, policymakers and others who need access to that expertise. You can see above some of the facts and figures around how many different activities our members have led this year in order to make that expertise available, from sharing posts on the ever-popular Jiskmail list, our perennial favourite with members, to webinars, conferences, online resources and more. It is very impressive, I think, to think how much our impact has grown through open knowledge sharing. I also want to highlight some of the more strategic partnerships that we have leveraged as a very small independent charity in order to broaden our reach and increase our impact. Some of the partnerships that have really shaped our impact over the past year include working with the UFI VocTech Trust in a strategic partnership since 2020 to support a growing network of FE and vocational education practitioners called Amplify FE, which now supports 1,800 practitioners. I know there aren't 1,800 FE delegates here at the conference, but there is an Amplify FE strand, and there are Amplify FE voices and engagement here at this event, even though it is the start of term and even though this isn't a good year of time for FE. And I'm so proud to see that partnership making some progress in what has been a very big strategic priority for us as an organisation that represents members from across all sectors of education and training. Our other partnership, which we've been exploring, is with IT and business to help bring the voice of learning technology and some insight and visibility in what is achievable to a much wider audience, an audience that wouldn't usually hear about the Association for Learning Technology. The Future of Learning was last year's collaboration and has been shortlisted for Best Association Award this year. And this evening, we're launching this year's collaboration on digital transformation. And I also want to mention the partnership with GIST that's led to the establishment of a new award for digital transformation. As many of you will know, GIST and ALT have long been in active collaboration in a number of ways as we collaborate with other sector bodies. And we do make every effort to contain these collaborations and make them very fruitful, but I think it's been very difficult for many bodies, particularly small ones like ourselves, to keep active collaboration going over the past 2 years where everybody's been in crisis mode. So I'm really thrilled that we've had GISC's engagement to launch this new award last night, and I'm looking forward to seeing that go from strength to strength. Now, our Members' Assembly, which I know many of you play an active part in, is really at the heart of our governance. And I know it is where every month key issues are being discussed, but also a lot of the different dots across the association are being joined up. We've launched new special interest groups since our last annual general meeting, and we now have the maximum number of special interest group and members groups that we can support. This area of activity has grown exponentially, and if you have a look at some of the figures, you can see how many different events we have supported in the past year. Many of our members groups used to be very active on our mailing lists and maybe met once a term in person for more social get-together. They now run very often weekly and monthly activities online with hundreds of participants. I know one of our special interest groups has got their own conference running tomorrow, and I hope the Coolsake have a fantastic Ice Pops conference. But it is amazing to me to see how many of our groups have an independent community that is going from strength to strength. So with that, I just want to close now by giving you a little preview of some of the things that are ahead. Because whilst we've achieving a lot, we do have new challenges, and we do want to continue evolving our offer for our members. A lot of the work we've been hearing about at this conference is around the ethical framework for learning technology, and this is obviously a key strategic priority for us to develop. But also, and importantly, CMALT. And that is one area that the board has thought about a lot this year, and we have two things that we're particularly keen to address. One of them is to finally find a way to enable active member organizations and institutional members to accredit members of staff in-house to gain CMALT with a robust quality assurance process behind it. And the other is for us to develop an official formal CMALT course that can support cohorts and individuals synchronously and asynchronously to gain the accreditation. CMALT is one of the biggest areas of growth for us as an association, and we're now very much investing time, resource, and imagination into hopefully what will be a very exciting few years of CMALT development. Now, I urge you all to have a look at our report and see what's in store, but also reflect on all we have achieved as a community. And with that, Helen, I'm going to hand back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So item 6 on the AGM is the trustee elections, appointments and of the new trustees. So this year we had an election for 2 new trustees carried out by Civitas. And we had a fantastic range of nominations for that, and the elections took place. And the successful trustees are Puyin Wong and David Hopkins. So Puyin's here in the audience. You're very welcome. It's great to see you in person.
Hello everyone online, hello everyone here. Thank you. Thank you. I hadn't prepared a speech, so just.
Do you want to say just a couple of minutes about
Yeah.
your current role and why you put yourself forward for?
Yeah, so I'm a learning technologist from the Royal College of Art, and I'm also a PhD student researching TEL from Lancaster University. And the reason I put myself forward was actually off the back of a conversation with Maren about wanting to really join the dot, connect between, draw a closer connection between TEL practitioners and TEL researchers. So I'm here because of Maren's encouragement, so thank you very much. And I'm just looking forward to working even more closely with a lot of you. Yeah.
Thank you. I look forward to working with you as well. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you as well, Helen. Sorry. Yes.
That's
a bit
fine.
nervous.
And then the other successful trustee is David Hopkins, who is not able to be with us, but he's online. So let's all wave to David. Hello. We look forward to working with you and to seeing you in person at some point. I have to say, Queen, that you have very, very hard act to follow and big shoes to fill, and you, David, because the two members of the Board of Trustees who are leaving us have been, personally, when I joined, I felt like everybody knew each other, and it was quite that everybody had their expertise and their understanding, and everybody knew so much about alts, and I was a little bit intimidated joining the board. And Bella and Lorna, you were so fantastically welcoming and supportive and just helping me feel my way. And I'm really sorry that you're leaving us, I really am. But I'm sure I feel like once you've been associated with alts, it's like a lifelong commitment, isn't it? There's no getting away from us. So I hope we will still see you and you'll still contribute to things. But on behalf of the members and behalf of the board, I would like to thank you both very much indeed and welcome you up onto stage so we can give you a round of applause.
Can I just say I am terrified to be filling in Lorna's shoes, but I will try my best, but I'm not going to be as glamorous as this lady's. Sorry to disappoint.
So at this point, it would be great to say, well, we have a carefully chosen gift, and we have, but it's just not here. So that's another reason for keeping in touch, because we have to give you the gift at some point. So so that's it. Thank you. I don't know if you've got any closing reflections or comments as you leave us.
Just say it's been a huge honour to work with Alt on the Board of Trustees for the last 6 years. I mean, it's been a really fulfilling experience for me personally. I've got to work with so many amazing people and to work at, in such a different capacity from my own role within the university. It's just been a really positive experience for me, and I you haven't seen the last of me yet. I'm looking forward to continuing working with Alt through the Alt Scotland SEG, and I'm sure through lots of other roles as well. So yeah, thanks for giving me that opportunity.
Thank you.
Hi everyone. So I feel like I've come full circle from when I started. I was co-opted because I was in FE at the time, so I was at Hull College. And I've had 3 jobs, which is in the time that I've been a trustee at Alt. Weirdly, before that I only had 1 job in 15 years, so obviously Alt was maybe do lots of different things. But working in FE, seeing how technology was being used when I was, it's the first trustee role I've got with us now, but and being able to shape and inform how this fantastic member organisation supports people all across all of education in the UK is completely fantastic, and all of our international links as well. But actually now coming back and looking at the Amplify FE thing, which has been stuff that I've been chuntering on about the whole time I've been here, even when I did join HE, it's just really fantastic. So I think it's really exciting. And as Lorna says, you haven't seen the last of me, so I will be here as well. So thank you for everything, and thank you, Helen, and thank you, Maren.
Well, thanks.
And the whole Alt team who are all fab.
So, yeah, I mean, we haven't seen the last 2 because it's only halfway through the conference, isn't it? So it's not like you go drift off into the distance now. So, yes, so thank you very much, everybody. And with that, if there's no other business, we will close the meeting.